Welcome back, everyone, to our continuing coverage of Super Bowl 59 live from Radio Row here at the New Orleans Convention Center for Front Office Sports. I'm Baker Machado, joined by former Philadelphia Eagles linebacker Marcus Smith. Marcus, good to see you. How are things going for you, man?
It's going pretty good. Being here at Radio Row, I'm glad the Eagles are back in the Super Bowl. I hope they can get a win on Sunday. So
let's talk about this. Obviously, great defensive lineup or matchup between these two teams.
Yeah.
You have Steve Spagnuolo, obviously a defensive, genius for the Chiefs. But the Eagles got some great players as well. From a defensive standpoint, how do you think these teams match up?
Man, honestly, when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, it starts with the front four, right? Mm-hmm. You have Jalen Carter. I mean, he is an insane player,
and
right?
Crazy.
Well, the defensive line coach was my defensive line coach at Louisville and at Seattle Seahawks, and he's a great coach as well. So I think looking at it, I'm looking at the front four, and I honestly think if they could get to Pat Mahomes, I think it's going to be a tough game for them. But I also do think it's going to be an evenly matched game. But it's going to start up front. It's got to start that way.
You mentioned Patrick Mahomes, and I'm curious your take as a defensive player. There's a lot of defensive players who believe that a new rule needs to be changed when it comes to slide tackles with players like Patrick Mahomes. This has been this whole conversation of do the rest in favor of the Chiefs because of all of these calls that Mahomes getting. Yeah. I'm curious your take as a defensive player. Do you think that a change needs to happen with this rule?
I do think a change needs to happen because it's hard for the player to actually make a hit or make a tackle or be in the right angle for a tackle,
especially when things are happening so fast.
Right. You can't hit them too high. You can't hit them too low.
Right.
You have to hit them in the strike zone. But when a quarterback is running, when you look at it that way, he can act like he's going to slide. And like Pat Mahomes, he go right down the sideline and he maybe scores. So I do think something needs to be changed. I don't know what they're going to do to change it, but I'm hoping that the NFL will change the rule to kind of help the defensive players because right now it's in favor of the offense.
Yeah, and one of the other big questions is will the NFL add an additional game, 18 games in the regular season? Roger Goodell was asked about this yesterday. Obviously, so much wear and tear happens on your body during a season, especially on the defensive side. Do you think this will be, let's just say if they do go to 18 games, are you in favor of that? And does that put a lot of wear and tear more on players' bodies as a result of that?
I don't think it would put more wear and tear on it just because if they put another game, then they'll probably take away a preseason game, right? So you only have really 2 preseason games to get ready for the season. So it's really about what they want to do and how they want to do it when it comes to the actual season. But if they add a game and then take away a game, I don't really think it's actually doing much. But playing 18 games, playing 17 games, either way, your body is going to feel beat up. So I'm pretty sure that they're looking at it like, well, if we do this, we can take away these games just to make it more, just better in the season. So
let's talk about what you're working on now. And I love so much as a mental health advocate myself, what you're working on, Circle of M, talking more about mental health, especially for players, and sort of destigmatizing, I think, how some people perceive and talk about mental health.
Yeah.
Talk about Circle of M and why this was an area that you wanted to get into.
Yeah, man. So the Circle of M Incorporated is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to unmask the feelings that cause anxiety and depression. I had a run-in with mental health when I was playing in the NFL back into 2018 when I played with the Seahawks, and I remember going through a lot of anxiety, depression, things that really just took me down, right? And then I seen a lot of players going through that. So after I went through my own stuff, I started the Circle of M, and we help professional athletes get into treatment, right? So I partner with Refine Recovery, which is in Beverly Hills, and then I also partner with All Points, which is in Colorado. And we just help players get into treatment. We're just kind of that case management, helping them find their way after they leave the game. And so that's what it's all about. It's just really pushing the message forward and trying to help guys as they transition, because when you look at it, when we take that helmet off, we don't really know who we are. So helping them find purpose in life.
I'm glad you are. I'm glad you're doing this. But I think the other thing I love so much about it is players are feeling open to talk about it now. Yeah. And this is across the sports. Kevin Love, so many others openly talking about like their mental health struggles during the season.
Yep.
Are we going to start seeing more of that happening? And are you happy that more players are outwardly talking about this?
Yeah, you're going to start to see a lot of it because, especially after 2020 when COVID hit, right? We was all kind of forced to sit with ourselves, right? Didn't really have much to do. And I think that a lot of people really started to get the help that they needed, right? And then you look at a lot of players, they're talking about it a lot more. You got, even Lane Johnson stepped away just to get the help, and he came back better than ever. So my thing is I want them to be able to step away, get the help that they need, and come back to playing football, the thing that they love,
most,
right?
Yeah.
Don't want you to take yourself off the field and be done with it because you want to mask your feelings and your issues. Let's talk about them now. Let's get through it, and then you'll be the best player that you could possibly be.
Marcus, before we get you out of here, any other things that you're working on or things you wanna promote and talk about?
Well, I'm doing Faith on the Field here. There's a partnership with the Circle of M, and we're just talking about faith with the NFL players. We're just continuing to see what their faith is like on the field, how it is being a Christian, and what does that do with them while they're on the field, but then also off the field too.
Marcus, such a pleasure to talk to you. Keep putting in the good work and all the good stuff that you're working on. That's Marcus Smith, the former linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, joining us here on Radio Row. And we have a lot more coverage over here for Super Bowl 59 coming up.